Good morning to you. It's Thursday morning, and today we start Matthew 13. And I'm going to start out by reading verses 1 through 9, which is the parable. Tomorrow we'll talk about Jesus' explanation of the parable. So 1 through 9 says, "That same day Jesus went out of the house and sat beside the sea. And great crowds gathered about him, so that he got into a boat and sat down, and the whole crowd stood on the beach. And he told them many things in parables, saying, A sower went out to sow. And as he sowed, some seeds fell along the path, and the birds came and devoured them. Other seeds fell on rocky ground, where they did not have much soil, and immediately they sprang up, since they had no depth of soil. But when the sun rose, they were scorched, and since they had no root, they withered away. Other seeds fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked them. Other seeds fell on good soil and produced grain, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. He who has ears, let him hear." The first thing it says is that he went out and sat down. Teachers in those days didn't stand behind a lectern. They sat down, and the crowds gathered around them to listen to what they had to say. And so he went out and sat down. He was by the lake. There are a huge number of people, and so he got in a boat and pushed out from shore a little ways, and then they sat down on the side of the lake, and he sat down in the boat. And from there he lectured them. It's different from the way we do it. But anytime you see that Jesus sat down, you know that he's about to say something important. He talked to them in parables. Now, a parable is a strange kind of a thing. It's a sort of a story. It is a story, usually, or a pithy kind of an image that we get. And it's kind of a metaphor, usually. We're supposed to take the concrete thing that he's talking about and get another meaning from it. In this case, as we'll see, the sower sowing the seeds is actually somebody spreading the word of Jesus. And so that's how that all will work. We'll see more about that tomorrow. But parables are typically the kind of thing that if you have to explain it, the person didn't get it. Like a joke. I could tell you a joke and you don't get it. I'm going to have to explain the joke. Well, then it's no longer funny. But if I tell you a joke and you do get it, then then you laugh and we all have a good time. Parables are like that. They're like jokes. You're supposed to get them. Oh, now I understand what you mean. And when you get it, you go, aha, and that moment of realization is when the parable connects and you get it, you hear it. And then you can learn. They're also typically fairly easy to remember. Jesus tells stories about the things that people in ordinary life in Palestine would have been experienced with: sowing seeds in the ground, producing wine, storing wine, everything to do with wine, because that's what they did in Galilee, and things like that. So people would know, oh, yeah. We've seen that happen. We've seen somebody do that, and then we understand how that can be a spiritual metaphor. So we're going to look at this parable in some detail for a few days. As you go through your day-to-day, think about the parables and think about how we would do that if we were doing it today. I think most of us know something about planting stuff, but we don't really know about widespread seed throwing and farming, and we don't know much about the everyday things that we know about wouldn't be in the Bible. Jesus would never say a woman got up to iron the clothes or something, because that's not something that they did. And so if you can think of things that we do that might be parables for the spiritual life, that's your homework, and we'll see you tomorrow.